Hi everyone, it's Chris back in my cider shed, Cork and Crown's cider shed, with some more cider to try. And it is cider today, not perry. We've done 4 perries in a row, I think. And now we're back on some cider, which I picked up today in Somerset. Went to Secret Orchard, went to Bridge Farm, picked up a load of stuff, got a pallet's worth of stuff. Somehow managed to get it all in my car and back to the lockup. I'm getting 2 more pallets next week. The lockup seemed quite big when I rented it. Now it's looking very, very small. I'm starting to worry about where I'm going to put everything. So as I said in the last video, I think I'm going to have to use a lot more this shed again for a lot more storage. No bad thing having a load of cider in a shed at the bottom of your garden, though, is there? So 2 things to try, actually. 2 things. So the cider we're going to try is this vintage cider from Bridge Farm, which I picked up today. Which I didn't buy a case of it. It has a little shop attached to the farm, and while I was waiting for him to box everything up, I noticed this on the shelf. I said, "Oh, I'd like to try that." I think Nigel's words were, "It's not for the uninitiated." So let's see what that means exactly. I suspect I have an idea, but let's see. I think it's going to be quite challenging. The other thing I picked up as I drove off the farm was this little fella. This little fella. Now that little guy there, that is a Kingston Black. Okay, we've talked about Kingston Black a lot. It's a vintage cider apple, as in, you know, it's single variety every year, and it's it's hailed as one of the best cider apples that there is for making single variety. I dispute that somewhat. I think I prefer things like Yarlington Mill, dab in it. But I've had some good Kingston Black. But I was driving off. This had fallen off the tree. It landed on the floor. So I pulled over, picked it up. I thought, you know what? Let's try it. So mainly when you're making cider, traditional cider, you'll bitter sharps, bitter sweets. You might use some sharps, you might use some sweets, but bitter sharps and bitter sweets is what you primarily use. Bitter sharps have got high tannin and quite high acid. Bitter sweets have got high tannin and more sugar. And often you'll blend them together to get the flavours that you want. You can throw in like sweeter ones and sharp ones as well to get the taste that you want. But commonly they're not edible. They're not for eating. Sometimes known as, I think we said, spitters, as one of the terms used to describe sort of like perry pears. And I think some cider apples as well. When you bite them, you're like, phew. Makes great cider. Does not make a good eating apple. So we're going to use my weapon of choice, my cheese knife. I'm going to cut a bit off this cider apple. I'm going to try it. So one of the things that you'll notice mainly about these sorts of apples is their texture. They're much more fibrous than much more fibrous in texture than a culinary apple, a dessert apple, which makes them not so much nice to eat. However, it makes them much better for pressing and getting juice from. So that's one reason why cider apples, proper cider apples, are better for making cider with, or even apple juice for that matter. Other reasons is those tannins and stuff. It brings complexity. I keep saying about how the Norfolk, Suffolk coast tend to use, and Kent, they tend to use dessert apples, culinary apples, and for me they just don't bring as much to the party. The best producer I've found on that course is Win Hill, and they tend to use the ciders I've had from them that I've enjoyed have used West Country cider apples, not culinary apples. Alright, so very red skin. That sort of makes it. It's quite a beautiful, dark, almost purple plum coloured thing. So let's have, almost looks like a big radish. That's what I want to say. Big radish. Let's try it. So a bit of sharp. Mild bit of sharp though. Has got a fibrous texture. It really has. A bit of sharp, I'll tell you what. It's pretty sweet. It's really sweet. It doesn't have the acidity. It has got some acidity, but I like the acidity I thought it was going to have. Rich, sweet, goodness me. I mean, the texture takes some getting used to, because it is kind of fibrous, but bloody hell, tastes magnificent. So there you go. My first taste of a Kingston Black that wasn't already made into cider. Cool, huh? How about that? Nice. So, thought that'd be fun. Now we've done that. Now, that was quite sweet. Having something sweet before this might have been a bad idea. I suspect this is not going to be sweet. So yeah, not for the uninitiated. What does it say on the bottle? It says on the bottle, a fine, robust cider that has been barrel aged at Bridge Farm for a minimum of 3 years. Interesting. The cider has a depth of flavour that harks back to the old days of West Country cider making, made only with the juice of cider apples collected from Somerset and Dorset orchards, which are no further than a tractor ride from the farm. The apples are pressed, and the resulting cider slowly matured into the cider shed to bring you the proper vintage cider. Cider shed. It's got a cider shed as well. So, don't know what the varietals are. It's a blend. It's still. It's unfiltered. Picked up a load of cider vinegar from Nigel today, and from Joe at Secret Orchard. Turns out, so Joe's is 3 years old, and it's delicious. And it's quite cloudy. It looks quite rich. Turns out Nigel's is clearer, but it's 8 years old. So I'm going to have to sit down. Maybe, you know what? Cider vinegar. Let's try that. Let's try that. People are into it. I think it makes them lose weight. Helps with their heart. Whatever. People want it. So I'm selling it. And also, I like good vinegar. So let's pour this out. 3 years minimum in oak. Really, really interesting. Really interesting. So, obviously no sparkle. There's the colour. Nice amber that. Nice amber that. Yeah. It's got a bit of it. I mean, it's obviously unfiltered. It's not super hazy. It's pretty hazy. Not super hazy, but it's a very, very nice colour indeed. So let's smell this sucker. Okay. So, acidity. Front and centre. Wow. Acidity, but there was a rich quality to this as well, and like a smoky smoky don't know, like smoky vanilla licorice kind of character to it as well. Yeah, smells flipping great. It smells flipping great. I love that. I mean, I thought there's going to be there's not acetobacter. Makes you think of acetobacter a little bit, acetic acid a little bit, but I don't know if there's any in there. I mean, there might be a minute amount, but yeah, the nose is excellent. All right, let's try it. I mean, you can tell if I go back and back and back and smell it, that tells you something. Sometimes I can spend longer smelling something than actually tasting it, because the smell can just, it's so intriguing. Love it. Love it. And it actually feels quite welcoming. So goodness knows what it's going to be like on the palate. Okay. Wow. 6.5. There's some sweetness to it. It might be back sweetened. That's the tradition in Somerset to do that, to back sweeten. But there's some leatheriness to it. Definite leathery tannins in the back. Hard tannins. Soft tannins on the front as well. So some astringency. Not loads. Really ripe apple in the middle. Red apple. Not baked, like freshly cut red ripe apple. You cut it, no skin, just bite it. That acidity thing, it's there. It's not malic, the acidity. It's going to be sort of lactic, I guess. No acetic acid to my palate at all there. It's all lactic. I suspect. Really interesting. I'm just getting a woody kind of sappy quality now of it. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect that. I think it's been sweetened, which is fine by me. But I'd almost like to try it unsweetened. And I suspect that leatheriness will be very much front and centre if it's unsweetened, like sucking on a bit of leather, basically. So I suspect it will probably, and the acidity's there as well, which balances. So you've got the sweetness, which probably does balance nicely that leathery character, and that the sweetness, yeah, and the acidity, pardon me. You know, it's a nice triumvirate, if you like. This is much more quaffable than I thought it was going to be. But the nose is great. I really like it. Yeah. That's really interesting. I really look forward to drink that. yeah, try not to drink it all tonight because I was up at 5 o'clock to drive to Somerset. Well, there's a couple of interesting things we tried there, isn't it? Okay, guys, I'm going to go because I'm knackered and I haven't really eaten much today. I'm going to have my dinner. Thank you for joining me. I hope you got something from that. I've got anything else to try. Oh, yeah. We tried some Keep cider in an unlabelled bottle. I think it was about video number 48, possibly, from Secret Orchard. And I went back today and I said, have you got any more of that Keep cider? Thinking maybe he's bottled it, like labelled it, but he hadn't labelled it or anything. It was still in the box, stuck at the back. He said, I got these. Oh, this is another bottling I did the same thing. And this is a drier one. It's drier. Do you want to try it? I was like, yeah, so give me a couple of bottles of that. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to watch the previous video. Then I'm going to try that one and see how it compares. So that'll be fun, won't it? Yes, Chris. Cool. I also got a traditional dry perry from Bridge Farm as well. We can try that. Loads of stuff to try. All right, guys. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. Please do join me again. And until then, cheers.